All right, let's talk about something that is fundamentally changing how we find information online. We're moving beyond just Googling things. Now it's all about getting direct answers from AI tools like ChatGPT. So if you run a website, a blog, or any kind of business online, you absolutely need to know how to play in this new arena. Let's get right into it. So let me just ask you this straight up. Is your website basically invisible to more than 200 million people every single week? Because that's how many people are now using AI to find everything from which new phone to buy to, deep research for their job. If you're not showing up in these conversations, you're missing out on a massive, massive audience. Yeah, 200 million. Let that number sink in for a second. That's GPT's weekly user base. This isn't some passing fad. It is a full-blown seismic shift in how people get information. And for you, as a creator or a business, this is either a giant threat that's about to make you irrelevant, or it's the biggest opportunity you've seen in years. It's really up to you. Okay, so how do we actually tackle this? Here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at what this new search landscape is all about. Then, we'll lift the hood and see exactly how ChatGPT finds information. From there, we'll break down the 3 essential pillars for success: getting your tech right, optimizing your content, and building authority. And by the end, you'll have a super clear action plan. So for the past, 20 years, SEO, search engine optimization, has been the name of the game. It was all about climbing that list of blue links. Well, now we're talking about AEO, or answer engine optimization. The goal is totally different. It's not about being a link on a list, it's about being the answer. I love this analogy because it makes it so clear. Think of Google as a librarian. You ask a question, and they point you to a whole aisle of books. You still got to do the reading. But ChatGPT, that's more like a personal research assistant. It reads all the books for you, pulls out the most important stuff, and hands you a neat summary, complete with where it got the info. It's a whole different ballgame. All right, so how does this research assistant actually work? Where is it getting all this information from? It's not pulling it out of thin air. It's a really specific process, and once you understand it, everything else starts to make a whole lot more sense. So here's the absolute key takeaway. When ChatGPT needs current live information from the web, its #1 source is Bing. Yeah, Microsoft's search engine. It queries Bing's index, grabs the relevant data, and then its own AI magic synthesizes it into an answer, often with a nice little citation link back to the source. So what does that mean? It's simple. If you don't exist on Bing, you do not exist to ChatGPT's live search, period. Okay, so that brings us to our first pillar. Before we can even think about writing amazing content, we have to lay the groundwork. You can't build a great house on a shaky foundation, right? This is all about the technical stuff, making sure your website is easy for these AI bots to find, crawl, and actually understand. Here is your non-negotiable technical checklist. Number 1, check your robot's text file. You got to make sure you're not accidentally telling Bing's crawler and OpenAI's crawler to stay away. 2, get your site officially verified in Bing Webmaster Tools. 3, while you're there, submit your sitemap, which is just a map of your site. And 4, use something called Schema Markup. It's like putting little labels on your content so an AI knows, hey, this is a product review or this is an FAQ. Okay, once your technical foundation is solid, we can move on to the fun part, the content itself. It's not enough for the AI to just find your page. You have to give it content that it actually wants to use as a source. And that requires a really important shift in how you think about writing. And this slide right here perfectly captures that shift. For years, SEO has been about chasing broad keywords like best running shoes. But think about how people talk to an AI. They ask detailed, conversational questions. They're not just typing keywords, they're asking for specific solutions. Your content has to be the direct answer to those very specific questions. So how do you do that? Well, it's actually pretty intuitive. You write like a human in a natural tone. You structure your articles with headings that are literally the questions people are asking. You build out entire FAQ pages. You keep paragraphs short, use bullet points. Basically, you make your content super easy to scan and digest. You're essentially creating the perfect cheat sheet for the AI to pull its answer from. And finally, we get to the third pillar, and this one is crucial: authority. I mean, there's a ton of junk on the internet, right? So how does an AI like ChatGPT figure out who to trust? It looks for signals of credibility and authority all across the web. Now, this is a really fascinating insight. In traditional SEO, backlinks were everything. But for AI, just being talked about, having your brand mentioned by other reputable sources, can be an incredibly powerful signal of trust, even if they don't include a clickable link. It shows you're part of the conversation. So if you look at the whole picture, it's this blend of trust signals. Yeah, quality backlinks still matter, but look how important brand mentions and positive reviews are. The AI is looking at sentiment. Are people saying good things about you? And, being mentioned on a super authoritative source like Wikipedia, that's a huge stamp of approval. It's all about your overall reputation online. All right, let's wrap all of this up into one clear takeaway. In this new world of search, being on the first page of Google isn't the end goal anymore. You have to be the answer. So here it is, your 3-step action plan. 1, on the technical side, make sure you show up on Bing. It's the gateway. 2, for your content, stop writing for keywords and start writing direct answers to specific questions. And 3, for authority, focus on building up those positive brand mentions and reviews. If you can nail these 3 things, you will be perfectly positioned to become a trusted, cited source in the age of AI. And all of this leaves us with a really important question to think about for the future. As we increasingly rely on AI to be our main source of information, how do we as a society make sure the answers we get back aren't just fast, but are actually correct, diverse, and genuinely trustworthy? That's the big challenge ahead for all of us. Thanks so much for watching.